want to be very conscious of everyone's time. The time is now 5:32 on Wednesday, February 18th, 2026, and this public meeting of the D.C. State Board of Education will come to order. The roll will now be called to determine the presence of a quorum. Director Butler, please call the roll.
Representative Chamberlain.
Present.
Representative Dinkins.
Present.
Representative Mozumdar.
Present.
Representative Waree. Representative Best.
Present.
Representative Chang. Representative Colson.
Present.
Oh, okay. Representative Colson.
Present.
Representative Goulet.
Present.
Excuse me. Representative Henderson.
Present.
Representative Johnson Law. President Patterson.
Present.
Representative Thompson.
Present.
Representative Williams.
Present.
Mr. President, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Director. Members, we have a draft agenda before us. Are there any corrections or additions to the agenda?
Mr. President, without objection, I would like to try to move the items for administrative vote to the right after the superintendent's remarks, if that's possible.
Okay. Thank you,
That
sir.
would be item 8, Roman numeral 8, A, B, and C.
There's been a motion by Vice President Goulet to move the administrative items up to after the remarks of the superintendent. Is there a second?
Sure, I'll second.
All right, thank you. The motion has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Is there a reason for the change?
Yes, we're moving them up, ma'am, because we are anticipating the person that the ceremonial resolution is for, and so we just moved them all up to that particular time. So we're talking about the resolutions and at the end.
So shouldn't we just move the ceremonial resolution?
I think it'd be just good to get them done if we could.
We're doing them as a group. Do you have would you like the other ones to be
Well,
separated?
Yeah, so I'm asking if we could do the ceremonial resolution at the top.
Okay.
Because normally we put all the ceremonials on the consent agenda. The other ones aren't ceremonial.
Yes, sir.
They're administrative.
Correct.
And so we then will have to wait for any public comment. And so in the interest of getting us to public comment as quickly as possible, because I know folks wait, I'm asking to separate them.
Okay,
Just
fair.
in case, I don't, So
Okay.
to vote on one thing, the ceremonial to be convenient for the family, because that makes absolute sense to me.
Mhm.
But I also think that the public should be as close to their normal timing as possible.
Okay, that is fine. I appreciate that, Representative Thompson. So I just want to do this parliamentary correctly. There's been an amendment, so to speak, to the motion. So I believe, if I'm correct, parliamentary-wise, do we have to vote on the motion first, or do we?
No, you need to vote on the amendment.
Mr.
Right.
President, may I just speak real quick? I think just, the thing of moving them all up is I don't think there's a lot of debate on these. And I think we're just worried we will make sure we have quorum still, because we're really close to quorum. So just trying to get these out of the way quickly and then get to the testimony, if that's something you're amenable to, because we don't even have the people we're honoring here yet, I don't believe. So it was just to try to dispense with the whole thing quickly so that we could move into public comment, but make sure we keep quorum, if that makes sense. So I would just ask if you could, if you consider withdrawing it. If not, I'd still support the original, just trying to keep them together.
No, I actually didn't make an amendment. We were just discussing.
You're discussing, okay.
And so, yeah, I didn't make an amendment. So we just have to vote on the move.
Okay, thank you. All right, so there was no amendment that was actually offered, just in discussion about it. I'm going to go ahead and hold the vote for if there's no more discussion. Is there any more discussion first? Let me ask that. If there's not, there has been a motion to move the administrative items up immediately after the comments from our superintendent or representative. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Any nays?
Nay.
Nay, and I believe with the quorum, that's 2 nays. I believe it carries 3 to 2. Yes, it carries 3 to 2, so we'll be making that amendment. All right, thank you so much. We now have the minutes from our working session on February 4th. Is there a motion to adopt these minutes?
So moved.
So moved. I'll second it. I just want to note, we do have 2 people online. So our vote count should be 7, not
Okay.
5, not total of 5.
Okay.
So Representative Williams and Representative Chang said that they were present when I called the roll.
They were present.
Yes.
Okay. And they did we hear their voice vote? I heard 2 nays. I did not hear theirs articulated. For our representatives online, we just recently took a vote. Could you tell me how you voted? I'm not hearing anything from either one of them, so I'm going to go back to our original count because I did not hear anything from them when we voted. I know they say they're online, but we didn't get any indication that they voted, so I'm going to go with the 3 to 2. Okay, thank you. I believe we were doing the minutes for February 4th. I believe there was by Vice President Goulet, who moved it, and seconded by Representative Thompson. Is there discussion on the motion? Not hearing any discussion. The motion is to adopt the minutes from our February working session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. All right. Good evening. I am Dr. Jacques Patterson, the at-large representative and president of the D.C. State Board of Education. On behalf of the State Board, I want to welcome guests and members of the public, including those who are watching live via the District Knowledge Network, to our public meeting. These meetings take place on the 3rd Wednesday of each month in the Old Council Chamber here at 441 4th Street Northwest. Last week, we had our standing meetings with both the Superintendent Mitchell, and with our Deputy Mayor, Mayor Klein, to share updates and discuss ongoing areas of collaboration. We are excited to be one of the government agency members of Compact 2043, working with the Compact to ensure children born today will graduate from high school prepared for success in higher education and for good jobs. We will also be voting on our 2025 annual report this evening, which we hope you all enjoy. The report reflects the work we did in services of students and families last year, and we are looking forward to building on that in 2026. This evening, we have 7 public witnesses who have signed up to share testimony. We encourage the public to sign up every month at SBOE.dc.gov. The State Board is available as a resource for our local communities. Please don't hesitate to contact your ward representative with questions or concerns related to public education, or email our great staff at sboe@dc.gov. At this time, I would like to have Andrew, who is representing our Superintendent Mitchell, provide OSCE remarks. Andrew.
Good evening, State Board members, staff, and public. It is my honor to read remarks on behalf of Dr. Mitchell, our State Superintendent. Appreciate the opportunity to provide you an update on our agency's recent activities and shared work. So I will begin with some very exciting news. After a quarter century of stable awards in the face of growing college tuition, Congress just raised DC TAG's annual and lifetime award caps by 50%. Yes. So beginning in the 26-27 school year, DC graduates will now receive up to $15,000 annually and up to $75,000 over a student's lifetime to attend public colleges nationwide. Similarly, students can now receive up to $3,750 annually and $18,750 total to attend private colleges in DC or HBCUs. This is a huge win for our students and for the district as a whole. I appreciate Mayor Bowser and her federal affairs team for moving this effort forward to completion, as well as Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton for her longtime advocacy for the program. I hope all eligible DC residents apply. The application for both DC TAG and OSSI's Mayor Scholars Program, which provides need-based assistance, are due August 21st. But please do not wait until the last minute to apply. The applications require documentation, and we do not want any students to lose out on thousands of dollars because they do not get their paperwork done in time. I have a second exciting piece of news as well, and this one involves someone right here on the dais. On February 13th, OSSI announced 2 local winners of the 64th Annual U.S. Senate Youth Program, Marie Celeste Pesce and the State Board's own Representative Nyla Diggins. Marie Celeste and Nyla will join 102 other students from across the country in an intensive week-long study of the federal government. This will include an opportunity to meet with U.S. senators, the President of the United States, and a Supreme Court justice. Distinguished alumni from the program include Senator Susan Collins and Secretary Pete Buttigieg. The selected students will also receive a $10,000 college scholarship from the Hearst Foundation. Huge congratulations to Nyla and Marie Celeste. I have no doubt we will be hearing great things from you in the future. In addition to these 2 exciting announcements, I want to share a federal funding update. On February 3rd, the President signed into law H.R. 7148, the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2026. This law, among other things, establishes federal funding for education and child care for the 2026 federal fiscal year. Congress declined to block grant funding to the states. Instead, the U.S. Department of Education was largely level funded across all divisions and responsibilities, with small increases in Title I-A and IDA state grants. In addition, language was added to require formula grant funds to be provided to states timely. Head Start and Child Care subsidy funding each increased by $85 million, resulting in small local increases for these programs. While federal investments shape resources available to our schools, our success ultimately depends on the people in them. With that in mind, I'd like to turn to our latest educator retention data. Last month, OSSI published our annual educator retention brief and data files. I'm pleased to share that our teacher retention rate reached a 5-year high, and principal retention continues to rise. 81% of principals remained in their roles this year, a 3 percentage point increase from last year, and 91% of DC principals continue to serve as educators in the DC educational ecosystem. DC's within-school teacher retention rate reached 78% this year, the highest rate since the 2021 school year, and DC's overall teacher retention rate is 86%, a 5 percentage point increase from 4 years ago. Importantly, more than 9 out of 10 teachers who earned ratings of effective or higher chose to stay in the district's educator workforce this year. This is a strong signal of the health of our educational ecosystem, with our most effective teachers continuing to choose to serve our students and schools. Additionally, our DC teacher workforce is at its largest ever, with approximately 9,200 public school teachers. Simultaneously, our vacancy rate remains low, under 2%, and our student-to-teacher ratio of 11:1 is among the lowest in the nation. I hope that state board members and other interested parties will review our educator retention brief to learn more. Looking forward, OSSI is pleased to continue to work with the state board to revise DC's graduation requirements and to update the district's PE standards. Our proposed graduation requirements include more opportunities for post-secondary planning, modernized math, financial literacy, and career preparation requirements, and new opportunities for diploma endorsements that connect students' learning to their post-secondary plans. With this in mind, I'm looking forward to hearing from this evening's panelists. I find that students, including recent graduates, often provide the most impactful and incisive feedback, so I'll be keen to hear what they share. Thank you for your time and attention and your continued partnership.
Thank you, Mr. Gall, for all your comments and all your partnership. Thank you so much. All right. Based on our amended agenda, we will now proceed with our administrative items for a vote. The first item we'll move to vote on is the 2025 DC State Board of Education Annual Report. Is there a motion?
So moved.
It is moved by Representative Goulet. Is there a second?
Second.
It is seconded by Representative Best. Is there discussion on this item? Okay, seeing no discussion, the motion is to adopt the 2025 DC State Board of Education Annual Report. Director Butler, will you call the roll?
Representative Chamberlain.
Present. Aye.
Representative Dinkins.
Aye.
Representative Mozumdar.
Aye.
Representative Best.
Aye.
Representative Chang. Representative Chang.
He came off mute, but we couldn't hear him. Yes.
Representative Colson.
Aye.
Representative Johnson Law.
Aye. Yes.
Thank you. Representative Thompson.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Representative Henderson. Vice President Goulet.
Aye.
President Patterson.
Aye.
The DC State Board has unanimously adopted the 2025 State Board Annual Report.
All right. Thank you. Next, we'll move to vote on SR 26-2, establishing 2026 committee assignments. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Vice President Goulet. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Representative Henderson. The motion has been properly moved and seconded.
Mr.
Is there
President?
discussion?
At this time, may I move a motion to waive the reading of the resolution? So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. It has been properly moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you very much. The ayes have it. I think I heard Representative
Williams.
Allen. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I would have voted nay, but that's okay.
Okay.
I said yes.
I
I
wanna-
said yes to move it, for it to go on.
Okay. Let me get this back. Okay, so we want to record Williams as a nay? Okay. All right. All right. Thank you. Okay, so the motion, I believe, carries. So, thank you so much. Okay, right. So seeing, is there any discussion? Okay. The motion is to adopt,
Representative Williams came off.
okay, Representative Williams, I'm sorry, sir. Go right ahead. I can't see you.
Yes, I'm sorry for not having it in front of me, so that's why I said nay to move the reading. But could you please just name the administrative committee so that I can be clear as to what I'm voting on and potentially move an amendment or a motion, please?
Yes.
Go right ahead.
The administrative committee is Eric Goulet, Vice President and Ward 3 Representative as Chair, Jacques Patterson, President and at-large Representative, Ebony Rose Thompson, Ward 7, and LaJoy Johnson Law, Ward 8.
Thank you, Executive Director Butler. Can I move a motion at this time then?
So moved, yeah.
Okay, so I would move to serve on the administrative committee and to amend the current situation as is. I know that the vice president and president sit on that, and Representative Thompson was previous on that. So I don't know if that would mean substituting me for Representative Johnson Law, but that is the motion that I would be making at this time.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second adding Representative Williams to the committee.
Okay.
Point of clarification. I don't think Representative Thompson, I don't think that was the motion he made, though. He made a motion to substitute. So are you looking to substitute his motion with your own? Like, are you amending his motion to add him but not take Representative Johnson Law off?
Well, he said, I would like to add him, and then he said, or. So,
And before, I would
Yeah,
al-
so my point of clarification would just, my motion is to amend the current administrative committee as written, to add myself back to the administrative committee in replacement of Representative Johnson Law. That's my amendment. And that's,
So to be clear, Representative Williams from Ward 1 has put forth the amendment to replace Representative Johnson Law on the administrative committee. That was the amendment. Representative Thompson seconded that amendment. So
Okay.
now you have to vote on the amendment.
Okay. Is there
But you can
discuss?
discussion.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would like to discuss, because if I'm going by the bylaws, it's the president that appoints, is that correct?
Is that a question you're asking me?
Yes, that's the question.
According to the bylaws, the president appoints committee members.
So if that is, if the president appoints, and that is the choice of the president, can that actually be amended by a member? Because that is his choice to pick who he would like to serve on that committee?
While the president appoints committee members, all board members have equal ability to amend resolutions.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
so since we're in discussion, the reason I seconded the motion to add Representative Williams to the committee is because one of the places I think consistency really matters is the admin committee. I think consistency matters in the admin committee. I do think that continuing to have Representative Williams on the admin committee is a value add. I was not privy to the discussions. I don't know if there was a conversation with Representative Williams. I know we had a form circulated. People were able to say which committees they would like to serve on. And I in particular think that it's valuable, especially knowing some of the ongoing conversations that have been in the admin committee.
Okay. As I understand it currently, so we're removing Johnson Law and adding him, adding Representative Williams.
That is the amendment that Representative Williams has put forth.
Okay.
Mr. President?
Yes.
I'd like to move to amend the motion and change it to, rather than replacing Representative Johnson Law, that we would then add Representative Williams to it, but then retain Representative Johnson Law, who wants to serve. So I'd move a motion to amend Representative Williams' amendment. Because I would like to, I think Representative Johnson Law would be very valuable to have her serving on the admin committee. So I would hate to see her removed through amendment. So that's the motion I would make at this time.
And I appreciate your motion. What I will say is, to your suggestion, is I would keep Johnson Law, add Representative Williams, and remove myself, and I'll stay as an ex officio.
I don't know that we would need to remove you.
Right.
So,
I think.
for my,
oh, go ahead. So, okay, I'm going to say some things about where the discussion is and then like where the parliamentary procedure is. So that will require a different, so technically Representative Goulet has not yet moved his amendment because no one seconded it.
Right.
There can be, but we are now, and we can discuss if there are other alternatives before we vote on this amendment. My advice would be for us to discuss what we would like to see happen, take a vote on this amendment. We can vote it up, we can vote it down, and then make a final, another amendment out with the outcome of that conversation. Because technically, Representative Goulet's has not been moved, and then what you are requesting is actually, would then be another amendment. I personally only spoke to the value of Representative Williams. We were getting clarity around the motion. And so I had already said, yes, I would second it, which is why we are discussing this in particular. But I would love to hear from other members, including Representative Johnson Law on this because I do think what she wants is valuable as well.
I agree.
But I am, so I would just say, if it's okay, just for clarity, before we have like 6 different amendments on the table, if we could discuss as a body what we would like to see. If that does not reflect the add and remove, then we should vote it down, and then we should make an amendment, if necessary, that reflects what we do want to see.
I appreciate that, Representative Thompson. If we could, Representative Johnson Law, if you could provide us
sir.
some commentary, if you could provide us your thoughts.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Representative Thompson and Vice President Goulet. I am in favor of, can we add Representative Williams to the committee? Again, I filled out the form. I said what I was interested in. Again, just wanted to serve in different capacities, wanted to add a voice to the admin committee, and also to like being here a year, it's also, I think it's valuable to know how things work on all different sides, not just on committee sides, but on admin sides, if it's chairing or, the different things. And so I would love it if we could add Representative Williams to the committee, but I don't think we need to replace Dr. Johnson Law.
Yeah, President Patterson, can I speak after Representative Johnson Law, please?
You sure may. Go right ahead.
I completely agree with that too. I was under the misunderstanding that there were only allowed to be 4 members on the administrative committee. The intent behind my motion was simply to continue the continuity of serving on the admin committee, considering the business that we've been working on over the last year. So I just wanted to clarify that I did not. I just felt kind of that I need to choose some member, and my apologies to my colleague Representative Johnson Law for singling you out there. That was not my intent, but my true intent was merely to continue serving on the admin committee. So I would encourage my colleagues to vote down my motion and to follow up with the motion. Representative Goulet.
Mr. President.
So as a point of
Hold on a second.
clarification regarding committee assignments by board members, the president of the state board is an ex officio member of every committee of the state board, and therefore does not have to be a member. If he is listed as a member in the state resolution, then he can be counted towards quorum. If he is only the ex officio member of the committee, his presence cannot be counted towards quorum at a committee meeting.
Thank you, Director. More discussions?
It seems like Representative Williams is supporting the amendment I discussed earlier in discussion. And so on the second round, I just think having 5 members on the committee would be workable if that's your preference, Mr. President. I know you talked about potentially taking yourself off. It would still require 3 for quorum in either situation. So I think that it doesn't make it harder to get quorum if there's 5 members, and it doesn't change anything that we would be required to do under the Open Meetings Act, because we're required to, if we have a quorum of committee, still abide by the Open Meetings Act. And if there's exceptions to that, we would then, in either situation, have to go through the process to have exceptions to close the meeting. So I'm going to follow your lead on this, whichever direction you would like to go, but as chair of that committee, I'm flexible and welcome membership.
All right, thank you. Representative Henderson.
I do think we need to consult the bylaws, which, since the administrative committee is delineated in the bylaws, specifically, it's not like the standing committees. And my reading is that the committee shall consist of the vice president or their designee, who will serve as chair, and 2 other members nominated and confirmed by the state board. So I think there is a limit on the,
Does it say 2 or at least 2?
it says, and 2 other members.
But it doesn't.
I don't think it limits. There's not a limit. I know it says 2 others, but it does not limit that number. It does not specifically say, because we've had 4.
So, no, I just wanted to say, so the president is an ex officio member of every single committee. That is stated in the bylaws. So with that understanding, technically, there were the Vice President Williams, Representative Goulet, and Representative Thompson on the committee previously. So that did meet that requirement.
Oh, yeah, I think, oh, sorry, may I be recognized? I mean, if I may, I think the historical reading of that has been that there needs to be at least 2. Now, I see what you're saying on that, Representative Henderson, and maybe that's something we need to revisit with the bylaws, but I remember just this last period, I think President Patterson was a member, I was a member, Representative Thompson was a member, and we had a chair was Representative Williams. So that was 1 plus 3, not 1 plus 2. So
That's, the president is one of the 3.
but he wasn't ex officio at that time. He was a full member.
I was a voted member per the vote last time. So I actually was a member and counted toward quorum last period.
So to clarify, ex officio just means member by virtue of your position.
Right.
Ex officio members, when they attend meetings per our bylaws, count toward quorum and get a vote. And so there is no distinction in the rights of an ex officio member. It's just by virtue of your office, you are automatically a member.
I understand that, Representative Thompson, but what I'm saying is that in our last period, I was actually voted into, I wasn't an ex officio as a member. I was actually on the resolution that made me a member, a voting member.
Yes, and I guess I'm saying that.
So that's actually a constitution of 4. That would be, if I'm looking at the resolution and it was voted into, there were 4 members. I know I'm an ex officio by position, but actually I was counted as a member because we voted into the resolution as a member.
Right, and I guess I am saying that you are a member, and there is no, just like, it literally, like the way the bylaws are written, it says by virtue of your position, like we.
Understand.
Even if we didn't vote on you,
Right.
you would be a member.
I understand that part.
But the difference is, what we are now recommending is actually that we would have 3 people who do not hold any of the offices specified in the bylaws, and that's the difference. The difference is not if you count towards membership, and we are talking about a constitution of 5 members. And so I was explaining that
I see your point.
you still count toward 5.
Right.
Whether you are ex officio or voted on in the resolution.
Okay.
And so I just wanted to be clear about that and why that was different.
Right.
I will renew my statement at the top. I know that we are still in the midst of some ongoing personnel matters, which is one of the reasons I supported Representative Williams being on the committee. If that were not the case, I think it would be a different discussion. But I do think that matters for the constitution of this committee. I always want, to the best of our ability, members to get what they want and have different opportunities to serve. And if we are limited, then we do have to make a choice. It does not sound like the bylaws allow us to have myself, Representative Johnson Law, and Representative Williams.
Okay. So I'm gonna bring us back to the motion if there's not further discussion, and I appreciate all of the discussion. We do have a motion that's on the table.
So I would like to, in a moment, just ask our executive director for clarification on this. I mean, my interpretation of this was that it meant at least two. I think that is what we had last year, was we had three members, because we had the president as a formal member, not an ex officio member. He was a formal member. So I think our historical interpretation of the bylaws has been at least two. I would be prepared to support having additional members on the committee if we continue with the interpretation that I think we had last time, because I still don't think we would be in compliance with that interpretation even if we picked between Representative Johnson Law and Representative Williams. I think, I would prefer to have a greater number of people and go with the interpretation we had last year. I mean, if it comes down to having to pick, I'm going to support the recommendation of the president because he is the one who sets committees, and he's put forward a recommendation for the committee, and I'm going to support that. So if we have to choose, I'm going to support what's on the table right now. But I would ask our executive director to let us know if we had additional members on the committee that were more than two plus the chair last time. And I'm talking full members, not two plus ex officio.
Okay. Other discussion?
So would you like me to?
Go right ahead.
Representative
Go ahead.
Goulet? So the bylaws state, the administrative committee shall consist of the vice president or their designee as the chair, who shall serve as chair, and two other members nominated and confirmed by the state board. What this doesn't say is at least, so I think if there is a point where there needs to be editing or the board wants to change this, this is currently what it says now. In the resolution that was passed last February, the committee consisted of the following members: former Vice President Williams as chair, President Patterson as a member, Representative Goulet as a member, and Representative Thompson. Is there another question, Vice President Goulet, that you would like me to
Was
answer?
Representative Patterson an ex officio member or a full member?
According to the resolution, it was written as the resolution before us and listed as such.
The member.
Okay, a member. So we.
Yeah, it does say president and at-large
Yeah,
member,
so
but it was
our-
written like this.
Our interpretation last time was that it was at least two. So I want to stay consistent with what we had before, but if we're
So
unable to
I
do
will
that.
say, no one asked what the interpretation was
Yeah.
before, when you all voted on this. So I can't assume to know exactly what you all meant, because no one raised that question.
Okay. All right, thank you. Further discussion? Okay, we have a motion that was presented where if I understand it, if you could state it again, Director, the motion.
The motion of the board, before the board, is an amendment to SR 26-2 to add Representative Benjamin Williams, Ward 1, to the administrative committee and remove Representative LaJoy Johnson Law, Ward 8.
Okay. All right, the motion has been read and it has been put forth. I think it has been properly moved and seconded?
It was moved by Representative Williams and seconded by Representative Thompson.
All right, and
So-
we can, yes.
So
Mr. President,
I asked-
I'm sorry to interrupt. Hold on, y'all. This is a lot, so y'all can just put Representative Williams back on there. If y'all need continuity, that's fine. Y'all can just remove it. This is too much. We need to get on with the
Representative,
program, and I know a lot of
Johnson
people want
Law.
to hear the students.
Representative
Hey.
Johnson Law, I believe discussion has been closed, so I'm going to get ready. Has it not been closed? We're getting ready to vote, okay. But I appreciate the comment, is what I'll say, but we're ready to vote.
Well, I mean, okay. I was gonna say, we had not closed discussion, and I was about to discuss. So if, I appreciate Representative Johnson Law speaking up, because one of the things I said I wanted to hear from was Representative Johnson Law. I think my initial recommendation was that we decide if there was something we wanted to put forth, or if we are now saying, before we voted, like before we closed it, and so I'm a little surprised that we're closing discussion, but I am not yet a mind reader, maybe in my next life.
I appreciate that.
I don't know if we are accepting, Representative Johnson Law's statement, and that's why we're closing discussion. I don't know if, or if we're no longer taking that recommendation.
Well, I believe.
Mr. President, I would like to be removed. Can you all just put Representative Williams there? I don't know if that's the amendment we need to vote on. That is my recommendation. If we still need to vote for parliamentary procedure, I'm okay with that. It's okay. You all can, I will remove myself. Thank you so much.
Okay. I appreciate the comment. We now have, is there more discussion before we go to the vote?
Yes, I'd like to jump in here too. I guess the one part that I am not clear on is, can we have more than 2 members of the, outside of just the president and vice president on the administrative committee? Have we gotten a clear interpretation of that?
The interpretation, again, that I read from the DC State Board bylaws that the State Board passed in February of 2025 states as follows. Let me pull that back up. That the administrative committee shall consist of the following members: vice president as committee chair, and 2 other members of the State Board as voted and approved by members of the State Board.
I hear that. I mean, I think that's up for
What exactly that
interpretation.
means, we can get a legal determination so that the board can move forward, but that is not something that can happen at this moment on the dais.
Can I ask this? Can I ask that we vote on the amendment as read? If we would like, we can get an interpretation. If we would like to then amend our bylaws, we can come prepared to the working session to make a recommendation about amending. Because what I hear our director saying is that anything further, she is not prepared to provide.
I appreciate that.
As I read it, it is saying that it spells out the constitution of the committee. And every configuration we've had up until this point reflects that constitution is spelled out in the bylaws. A constitution of 5 members is just different than what we've ever had, which is why we've never had a discussion like this. And so what I think I am asking is that if we should get clarification, so we have clarification for the future. It sounds though like she is not telling us that a constitution of 5 members is something this allows, and she is stopping short of saying that. I will say as I am hearing it, the understanding is a constitution of 5 members is not allowable, and there is no configuration that we have ever had that has gone against what is spelled out in the bylaws.
Okay. So thank you. Is there any discussion? Because after the last one, I'm going to make a statement and then call for the vote. Is there any more discussion?
Just one last point. I mean, I don't think we'll resolve this tonight, but I would argue that the last one we passed was technically against that interpretation of the bylaws because you had 4 members instead of 3 members because we had the president on there and he was not ex officio. What I would recommend we do is we move forward with the 4, since Representative Johnson Law has volunteered to take herself off for the time being, but if the president and Representative Johnson Law wants, we could clarify the bylaws at the next meeting and then add Representative Johnson Law at that time to the committee, because I think this is a bit vague, and so we can be cautious tonight since she's been gracious enough to take herself off, but then if she would still like to serve, we could then look at that at the next meeting.
Right.
If that would work for you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Representative Goulet. That helps me not to have to make a statement toward the end and delay this vote any longer and put our audience through this any longer. So that being the consideration, I would like to now have the vote on the motion that is before us. The amendment, yes, to the motion.
Vote on the amendment to amend SR 26-2 to remove Representative Johnson Law from the Administrative Committee and to add Representative Benjamin Williams. It was moved by Representative Williams, second by Representative Thompson. I will now call the roll. Representative Best.
Aye.
Representative Chang.
Present.
Representative Colson.
Nay.
Representative Johnson Law.
Aye. Please remove me. Thank you.
Representative Thompson.
Aye.
Representative Williams.
Nay.
Representative Henderson.
Aye.
Vice President Goulet.
Nay.
President Patterson.
Nay.
Give me a moment. The vote is currently tied 4-4 and Representative Chang voting present.
So the amendment fails.
The amendment
Okay.
fails. Thank you, Vice President, as well. All right, so with the motion failing, we now are going to move the resolution forward and vote as is. So if there's any discussion, any more discussion? Okay, thank you. Can you call the roll for the resolution?
I would like to make a motion, please.
Okay,
I would like to add both to the committee, Representative Williams and Representative Johnson Law. Can I get a second? Is that procedure?
I'd second.
Thank you.
it's been properly moved and seconded. Discussion, discussion.
Just briefly on this, not to belabor this, but I would definitely support working with our executive director between now and the meeting of the admin committee. If we need to clarify the bylaws on this point, I would certainly be open to doing that, just so that by the next meeting we can ensure that we've, complied with those, and I think that would be in everyone's best interest to.
While that is true, that is not the motion that is before the board at
Right.
the moment, sir.
Well, I'm just speaking
Yeah.
in support of her motion.
I
and
appreciate the
committing to do that.
discussion. Thank you, sir. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing no other discussion, there's been a motion to add,
There's an amendment before the board to add Representative Williams to the admin committee. The motion was moved by Representative Colson
Colson,
and second by Representative Goulet.
correct. And seeing no other discussion, please call the roll.
Representative Best,
Aye.
Representative Chang,
Aye.
Representative Colson,
Aye.
Representative Johnson Law,
Aye.
Representative Thompson,
No.
Representative Williams,
Aye.
Representative Henderson,
No.
Vice President Goulet,
Aye.
President Patterson.
Aye.
The amendment to add Representative Ben Williams from Ward 1 to the Administrative Committee has passed. A vote of 7-2.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. So I believe with the amendment, now we still have to vote on the resolution as a whole, is that
Yes,
correct?
you would have to vote on the amended resolution.
Okay.
So the amended resolution, SR 26-2, the State Board of Education establishing 2026 committee assignments.
All right.
That addition of of Representative Williams to the Administrative Committee would amend line 35 of the resolution to add him.
Thank you, Director. Is there any discussion?
So that is the amendment.
Representative Thompson?
So I'm going to vote no, just because I don't think this is in accordance with our bylaws. Not because I am voting against any particular member on the committee, but given, asked several times directly by the executive director, does this align with the spirit and letter of our bylaws? And she refused to say yes to either one of those. I am going to vote no.
Thank you, Representative Thompson. Representative Henderson?
Similarly, I will be voting no for that reason, not because I'm objecting to any particular person serving on any of the committees as outlined in the resolution, but I do feel like it's not in alignment with our bylaws.
Right. Thank you. Is there any other discussion? From our members that are online, is there any other discussion?
President Patterson, I was cool to be removed. I want to remove myself. How do I remove myself? It is okay. I just want to be removed.
So
Thank-
Representative Johnson Law, the amendment has
Yes,
already
it
passed.
Yes, ma'am.
There is no more voting on that amendment. Another amendment would have to be put before the board.
Right. And-
Currently, on the amended resolution, the following members are Representative Goulet, Vice President, Jacques Patterson, President, Ebony Rose Thompson, Ward 7, LaJoy Johnson Law, Ward 8, and Benjamin Williams, Ward 1.
All right. Is there any other discussion? Thank you, Director. So that we don't have to belabor this any longer for our audience. Representative Best?
I would like to make an amendment to remove Representative Johnson Law.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded. Is there discussion?
So to be clear, the amendment before the board is to amend the amended SR 26-2.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion. Director, call the roll.
And this is on the amendment.
Yes.
The amendment to remove Representative Johnson Long from the admin committee.
I think we could just do a voice vote.
No, we need to call.
And then it was seconded by Johnson. Representative Best,
Aye.
Representative Chang,
Present.
Representative Colson,
Abstain.
Representative Johnson Law,
Aye.
Representative Thompson,
Aye.
Representative Williams,
Aye.
Representative Henderson,
Aye.
Vice President Goulet,
Aye.
President Patterson.
Nay.
The amendment to the amended SR 26-2 has passed. You have 6 votes for, 2 abstain, and 1 against.
Okay. Thank you. All right, now we can go back to the amended resolution.
Yes.
And you can state the line that has been changed. I see you working very hard feverishly to write that all in there and
So the
state.
amended resolution that is before the State Board this evening. State Board of Education Resolution establishing 2026 committee assignments, SR 26-2, as amended, removes Representative Johnson Law on line 34 and replaces, Representative Johnson Law on line 34 and keeps Representative Williams, who was added per the last amendment.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I'm hoping at this point we don't have any further discussion. I believe we've had a lot of discussion, so if you could call the roll.
Roll call vote for the amended SR 26-2. Representative Best.
Aye.
Representative Chang.
Present.
Representative Colson.
Abstain.
Representative Johnson Law.
Aye.
Representative Thompson.
Aye.
Representative Williams. Representative Henderson.
Aye.
Representative Williams. Vice President Goulet.
Aye.
President Patterson.
Nay.
Representative Williams is having trouble with the volume. He has sent his vote via text message. I don't know if that is allowed. There's no rule in the bylaws for text message votes for the state board meeting.
But I do believe it carries.
Aye, yeah, for some reason the mute button came off. I'm sorry about that.
In a vote of 6-4, 1 against, and 2 abstain, amended SR 26-2 passes.
Thank you. I apologize to everyone in our viewing public for the long and lengthy debate on that particular constitution of our committees, but these things happen sometimes as you constitute, and people want to make sure that they are serving in the areas that they would like to serve, and so we always appreciate a lively discussion on that. So thank you guys for getting through this with us. All right. Now, I believe, I have to find one. Yes. Thank you. We now move to CR 26-3, honoring the late Pierpont Mobley. I will now entertain a motion, and I want to acknowledge as I say this motion that his widow is here with us, so thank you for being here with us. To approve CR 26-3, honoring the late Pierpont Mobley. Is there any discussion?
So moved.
Okay, so moved. Yes, motion to move it. It's been moved by Representative Thomas. It's been seconded by? Second by Representative Johnson Law. Excuse my exuberance for wanting to go into talking about Pierpont, but is there discussion? Yes, sir. Representative Henderson from his ward, Ward 5.
Yes, as the member with the privilege of representing Ward 5, I thank you for initiating this CR and would like to say for Ward 5 that we are proud of the legacy of Mr. Mobley and appreciate his legacy of service to his many communities, including Ward 5. He was a pillar in our community, and Ms. Jeanette, you continue to be. So we thank you for that, and I'm happy to vote in favor of this resolution and hope we will also read it.
Okay. Yes. Representative Thompson.
I share my colleague from Ward 5 sentiments, and it is always a pleasure to see Ms. Mobley, even when not under the happiest circumstances. And I think it is most appropriate to say not goodbye to Mr. Mobley, but simply thank you for the time he spent with us, and thank you for the time that you shared of his with us. So thank you.
Thank you. Other comments? I would just like to say, since I get to take the opportunity of usually being last and as president, I was really impacted by your husband, by Pierpont. As a person who loves service, he is the gold standard for all of us to follow. His service to our city, to our nation. As we'll read the resolution and people will hear his service. For a young person coming into the city when I first got here, he was one of the first people that I heard to talk to. You know, if you're going to do public service correctly, you're going to Pierpont. That's just the bottom line. Anybody who's going to serve in public service, you're going to a man who really lets you know how to focus on the constituents that you're supposed to serve and hold yourself accountable to a high standard. So I just want to say, you know, thank you for allowing him to be that type of person for all of us. He touched so many people. I had the opportunity to be on the phone call that was had shortly after his passing, where we had, I believe, every council member, mayor, attorney general on that particular call to speak to the effect and the impact that he's had in our city. It just speaks volumes. And last thing that I will say before we read this is that I had the opportunity at the Dancing of the Scholars to see him one last time, so to speak, in person, and we sat next to each other. And you allowed me to take a picture with him, and you and I talked, and that's how I'm going to remember him. That conversation that we had, seeing him smiling, seeing you smiling as we enjoyed students from Ward 7 and 8 dance and for scholarships and everything. So thank you so much for sharing him with us. All right. Director, if you could read the resolution.
The State Board of Education resolution honoring the late Pierpont Mobley, CR 26-3. Whereas the passing of Mr. Mobley on January 22nd, 2026 marked the loss of a dedicated leader and veteran civil rights activist who dedicated his life to advancing equal employment opportunities and justice for others. Whereas Mr. Mobley was born and raised in Washington, D.C., where he developed a lifelong commitment to civil rights, politics, and public service. After experiencing discrimination, shaping his resolve to advance equity and justice 4 others. Whereas Mr. Mobley graduated from Antioch School of Law, now known as the University of the District of Columbia's David A. Clark School of Law, with a Master of Art in Equal Employment Opportunity and a Master of Legal Studies in Employment Law. Whereas Mr. Mobley had a vast career in public service and was appointed Chief Civil Rights and Equal Employment Opportunity for the United States Drug Administration under President Lyndon B. Johnson. Whereas Mr. Mobley maintained his position through the Nixon, Ford, and Carter administrations, where he spent more than 25 years focused on expanding employment opportunity within the federal government. Whereas during his tenure at the White House, Mr. Mobley made history as the first African American appointed to a professional position in the White House Personnel Office and authored the first affirmative action program for the White House and the executive offices of the President during the Carter administration. Whereas Mr. Mobley championed equal opportunity within the federal sector throughout his entire career, even when popular support for affirmative action and equal employment opportunity began to wane. Whereas Mr. Mobley continued his public service beyond his federal employment by serving on the Service Academy Board for Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton and as a mayoral appointee to both the D.C. Office of Human Rights Commission and the Office of Administrative Appeals. Whereas Mr. Mobley was a devoted member of the Second New St. Paul Baptist Church in Northeast Washington, D.C. for over 50 years, where he served as president of the Youth Fellowship Committee and the Brotherhood Club, demonstrating his deep commitment to faith and community leadership. Whereas Mr. Mobley has also received the Man-Made Award for Mentoring Young Men, the Global Couples Award for Community Services, a D.C. Council resolution recognizing his community leadership, and a certificate of special congressional recognition for his outstanding service. And whereas Mr. Mobley's life and career exemplify a steadfast commitment to public service, civil and human rights, mentorship, and the advancement of equity for future generations. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the State Board hereby recognizes and honors the life and legacy of Mr. Mobley for his outstanding contributions to civil rights, public service, and the Washington, D.C. community, commending his historic achievements, resolute advocacy, and enduring commitment to equity, justice, and mentorship.
Thank you, Director. I believe all we need at this particular time, since we don't do a count vote, but a voice vote, is to take a voice vote. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? I didn't think so. It passes 100%. So thank you so much. At this particular time, there's no other administrative items that we have. We're going to take a break of about 5 minutes because we did have a long, lengthy discussion. So I hope that everybody can be back at exactly 6:45. Thank you very much.
Board members, if you could please join in front for a picture with Mrs. Mobley as we present her with the ceremonial resolution. We're going to do a picture here in front of the dais. Representative, are there any board members online?
Is Representative Thompson in the room? Oh, there she is. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so we have quorum. All right, we will now reconvene at this time the meeting of the State Board, and we're going to move to our panel, which is Beyond the Diploma, DC Graduates Reflect. And this is our expert panel for this evening. This month, we are excited to have panelists who have graduated from DC area high schools in recent years. They will reflect on their experiences and share recommendations to inform our work to update the high school graduation requirements. I will now call each panelist to the table. If you are here in person, you're welcome to come to the table at this time. And if you're testifying virtually, we'll look for you on there and we'll call you in order. So our first expert witness for tonight is Avante Bennings from Dunbar High School, class of 2024. And I believe that's virtual testimony. Our next one is Janae Cousins from Cesar Chavez Public Charter School, class of 2025. Thank you for coming up. Our next witness is Shayla Dyson from McKinley Technology High School, class of 2022, and she is online. And lastly, we have Chase McBride from Phelps Architecture, Construction, and Engineering High School, class of 2025, who's here in person with us. So what I will do is I'll start with our witnesses at the table right now, and then we'll move to virtual testimony. We'll begin. Oh, yes, thank you. Okay, excellent. Our executive director mentioned that we're going to start virtually tonight, just so that we can make sure everybody gets a chance to provide testimony. So we'll start first with Shayla Dyson. You can take yourself off mute and then provide testimony, please. And you'll have 5 minutes to provide testimony, and the timer is up on the screen. Just begin when you're ready.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Shayla Dyson, and I graduated from McKinley Technology High School in 2022. I currently attend Trinity Washington University, where I'm graduating this May 2026 with my bachelor's in psychology. So high school was one of the most pivotal experiences in my life and shaped all of my future choices. High school taught me discipline. The early start and structured day helped me learn how to keep my mind and body on a constant schedule. This is important for a successful future because as you get older, no one will always be there for you, be there to wake you up, sit around and wait for you, or give you excuses to not do what you need to do. You have to show up and do what you need for yourself. Connecting with my peers and staff helped me navigate better socially as I grew to be comfortable in my learning environment. Actually putting myself out there, however, helped me the most. I made sure to attend and sign up for different programs and career expos, especially those that would benefit me in college since I knew that that's where I wanted my next steps to be. The school social worker at the time was a really amazing resource as she helped encourage me through hardships I faced both at school and at home. Her devotion to helping me and other students inspired me to pursue a career in the psychology field. I encourage all students to build connections, learn about things that they aren't familiar with, and get involved as much as possible. Those are some of the things I see contribute to the success of those around me and that I still wish I did more of. However, I still felt unprepared in some areas when I started college. In high school, the classes I needed for my STEM were picked for me, so all I had to do was attend. Unfortunately, this hindered me in college as I didn't really know what I needed or how to advocate for myself. So I let my advisors determine what classes I should take for my major without really looking at it in my own. This left me wasting time and money on classes I didn't even need for my major, causing me to have to take even more classes in my last couple semesters so that I can graduate on time. I also felt, and in some ways still do, unprepared for becoming an adult. I understand that school is not responsible for certain aspects of maturity, but I do believe the system can better educate and prepare students when it comes to life skills. At minimum, I believe all high schools should have a financial literacy class or program that is required for all students to take. In today's society, money is one of the primary driving forces behind people's needs and aspirations. Whether transitioning into college or work life, understanding how to manage your finances and being familiar with the terminology surrounding the topic is very important. I'm graduating from college this coming May, but I still find myself struggling with financial literacy, highlighting an issue that could and should have been addressed much earlier. If students can take anything from my testimony, I want it to be this. Do not take your time for granted. Although we are still young and have time to find ourselves and our purpose, others do not owe you that same grace. When an opportunity presents itself, grab it. Missing out on opportunities because we are tired, busy, or simply uninterested can make the journey so much more difficult. Advocate for yourself, believe in yourself, encourage yourself, and do for yourself. You are your biggest ally. To the State Board of Education, I ask that you consider how schools can better equip students not only academically, but practically. High school plays a critical role in shaping who students become. And while structure, discipline, and academia are essential, so are the skills students need to navigate life after graduation. Implementing required programs that cover financial literacy, college and career navigation, and self advocacy would help ensure students are not just graduating, but graduating prepared. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Ms. Dyson, and I understand that you have another commitment, so you can't stay around for the question and answer section, but I just want to thank you for your guidance and really helpful testimony tonight. So you may leave at this time if you have another commitment, but I want to thank you for testifying today before the board.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll go next then to Avante Bennings, also online.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Avanti Bennings, and I graduated from Paul Laurence Dunbar High School, and I'm now a sophomore at Cobbin State University in a psychology major. Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to share my testimony regarding the proposed changes to graduation requirements, specifically the proposal to reduce the community service requirement from 100 hours to 60 hours and allow certain paid opportunities that contribute to societal benefit. I strongly believe that community service is an important and valuable practice for high school students. It helps students begin developing responsibility, civic awareness, and engagement before entering adulthood. Community service is also a major component of college applications, scholarships, and competitive opportunities. Having 100 required hours can help students build discipline and distinguish themselves when pursuing post-secondary options. That said, I'm supportive of expanding paid opportunities that still serve the community. Many students in DC work out of necessity, and some prioritize jobs over schools because they are helping support themselves or their families. I understand this reality, and I believe the education system should acknowledge it rather than frown upon it. If the board allows structured, paid work-based opportunities that provide real societal benefit, it could reduce the likelihood of students seeking potentially exploitative or unsafe work environments, help students meet financial needs without sacrificing educational engagement, and create more intentional, supervised experiences aligned with career development. If the requirement is lowered, I encourage the board to ensure the remaining hours are meaningful, structured, and connected to skill building, not just a checkbox for graduation. One challenge I observed in high school is that many students disengage because they do not feel they are learning practical or relevant skills. Some students prioritize working over attending schools because they do not see a clear connection between their education and their future. When my high school, Paul Laurence Dunbar, introduced us to City as a Classroom and the high school internship program, it motivated me to improve my attendance, and with having access to real-world experiences, it gave me a sense of purpose. Thanks to these programs, I was able to be a part of experiences like the XQ America DC and began an internship with the Office of the Student Advocate. I felt I was finally learning skills that directly applied to life beyond graduation. These experiences were more than valuable. They strengthened my critical thinking skills, gave me exposure to professional environments, helped me understand policy and advocacy, built my confidence in public speaking and leadership. Through these experiences, I realized that I want to pursue a career related to student advocacy alongside my primary goal of becoming a youth sports psychologist. Without these opportunities, I may not have discovered that passion. As entrepreneurship rises to be the more popular path among my generation, I believe schools should meet students where they are, expanding programs like trade, cosmetology, and driving courses. I believe these programs would give students practical reasons to stay enrolled and engaged, all while still maintaining strong foundations in reading, writing, science, and math. Based on my experiences, I support thoughtful reform of graduation requirements that recognizes students' financial realities, expands meaningful paid work-based learning, maintains high expectation for civic engagement, and prioritizes relevance and student interests. Community service and career exploration should not just be requirements, they should be transformative experiences that help students discover purpose, direction, and confidence. Thank you for your time and for considering student voices in these decisions.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your testimony, and we'll look forward to asking a round of questions to you after we hear from our witnesses who are here in person. So we'll go next to Janae Cousins, and if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, please correct me on that. Thank you.
Yes, my name is pronounced Janae, but it's okay. Good evening. My name is Janae Cousins. I live in Ward 7. I attend the University of the District of Columbia. I'm a freshman studying natural science in hopes of becoming a pediatrician, and I'm a graduate from Cesar Chavez Public Charter School for Public Policy. Life after high school was always daunting to think about. Am I going to go to college? What are my career goals? Do I want to do a trade, or will a gap year benefit me? These many questions spiraled in my head, and same for many other young people living in Washington, D.C. The confusion can cause you to be stuck and stagnant, but what helped me through this indecisive time period was the many options and opportunities that DC Public Schools offer to their students. The variety of internships, after-school clubs, and kid recreation places gave me the diversity I needed to seek what my interests were and gave me time to weigh my options. In high school, I did many after-school programs and internships, such as Student Government Association at my school, where I found my passion for public speaking, Tech Turn Up, which I'm the ambassador of now, MICFA Challenge Safety Justice Council, and DC Action Youth Advisory Team, which I'm still currently a part of, serving as a mentor. I have traveled, I've been to networking events, I have had summer internships, met council members, and so much more. And given the fact that I was so young, I didn't know that I was setting myself up for success. These programs gave me the ability to navigate the world beyond the diploma, giving me the skill sets I needed to pursue higher education, to operate in professional settings, and to have a network that I can always resort to when things get tough. They have enriched me to thrive. Without these programs, I truly believe that I wouldn't be able to make it out of certain circumstances I faced growing up as an adolescent. In high school, I suffered from many personal situations that were setting me back in my academic standing at school. It took a huge toll on my goal to graduate and to go to college. So I sought help in my network that I had outside of school. And from the help of my advisors and programs pairing with my teachers, it gave me the support I needed. Even though this is my personal triumph, I can't say the same for every young person in DC. And opportunities like the ones that I mentioned and many more should be available not just in wards 6 and 5, they should stretch across all the district, enriching the city's youth, accommodating to all demographics and backgrounds. So all of this to say, I encourage City Council to provide after-school programs and recreation places for all DC's youth. All of DC public schools and public charter schools should provide their students with the tools and resources and the programs they need to set them up for success in and out of the classroom. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony, Ms. Dyson. We'll turn next to Mr. McBride. Oh, sorry, Ms. Cousins. I apologize. Ms. Cousins, thank you for your testimony. Mr. McBride?
You should press the button.
Hello, all right. Good evening, board members and guests. I hope everyone is well. I'm grateful to be given this opportunity to speak to you all today to share my thoughts and experience as a DCPS high school student and give some insight that might help decision makers. I want to first start off by saying that as an electrical apprentice, I didn't think I would be right back sitting in front of a computer, absolutely wrecking my brain, trying to unpack my thoughts and mold them into helpful summary. There are so many aspects and people that help me prepare for life after high school. A little information about me, as I mentioned before, my name is Chase McBride. I am currently an electrical apprentice in the IBEW Local 26. I graduated residing from Ward 5 Phelps Ace High School, class of 2025. I chose to attend Phelps for my 4 years of high school because it's a trade school. In fact, it's the last trade school left in the district after trades as a whole were removed from DCPS schools around the early 1990s and early 2000s. Some classes that students had the opportunity to take include HVAC, electrical, carpentry, Cisco, architecture, and IT. Plumbing was one of the optional classes, but because of funding and lack of student interest, is no longer offered. As a student of Phelps, you are required to pick one of your CTE classes that I mentioned. You are allowed to pick your CTE course as a freshman. You are not allowed to pick your CTE course as a freshman. Instead, your school counselor picks 2 or 3 CTE courses for you to take throughout your first year and second year, your sophomore year. Once you advance your sophomore year, sometime around like second term, you're allowed to pick your CTE course and whatever you want to study. I'm sorry, yeah, I'm not really a good speaker, I apologize. Originally, I first wanted to attend Phelps because I wanted to become an architect, because I love building things growing up. Not sure what kind of architect, just the architect. My first CTE class I was scheduled for at Phelps was HVAC. By the end of the week, I already had changed my graduation plans to becoming an HVAC technician. After passing HVAC, I took engineering. Once again, I changed my career plans after high school to become an electrical engineer. I think I liked the idea of being an electrical engineer more than actually becoming one. I was under the impression that this was the path I was meant to take. My final class I took before it was time to pick my course was electrical. I absolutely loved it. I loved everything about the trade, and I knew I had found my calling when I first powered a light bulb. This newfound passion gave me my motivation to learn as much as I can about tools and electrical theory. And this was before I found out about my union wages. My teacher, Mr. Green, was a master electrician himself. He recognized I was eager to learn and quickly became a very reliable resource to me, even to this day. During my time in electrical, I learned skills and information that was not only relevant to my career today, but also gave me a head start. And I learned that eventually that I would use in my everyday life. I'm so sorry, y'all. With that being said, I can now fail to mention that I wouldn't be in this position to be successful if it wasn't for all the help I had along the way, from my motivational speaker of a mother to my overachieving graduate sister that continues to set the bar high. All the staff and members of Phelps High School have excellent patience when it comes to dealing with temperaments of students. Also, my high school gave me all the tools I needed to prepare myself for life after high school. My CTE director, Ms. Taibo, did a great job in finding me and my peers career-based field trips and summer internships that were very relevant. Some field trips that were helpful in my journey to success was our tour to MC Dean headquarters, the International Association of Iron Welders. Ms. Taibo gave me the opportunity to participate in IT internships at Trinity College over the summer. The following summer was with NAVTRAC, where I participated in numerous activities. On one occasion, we got a chance to walk around an active construction site and ask contractors and general contractors questions. This experience gave me a great understanding of what to expect. The exposure to so many different career opportunities undoubtedly gave me opportunities that many kids around the city simply do not have. I believe that students of the district should have the opportunity to firsthand experience what it's like to take vocational education and traditional trade programs. While attending high school, programs that that offer electrical, HVAC, plumbing, barbering, or hairstyling, school, farming, automotive services, and other essential skills should be offered for free and should be easily accessible to students. This will be impactful to students who are like me, who know college was either not for them or was not worth the debt. I hope my testimony was useful. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and have a blessed day.
Thank you very much, Mr. McBride. Really appreciate your testimony. We're going to now move to a round of member questions, which will begin with our student representatives. Each member has 3 minutes to ask questions, and as always, a reminder that members have 3 minutes includes both the time to ask and answer the questions. So just make sure we give the panelists time to respond. So we're going to turn to Executive Director Butler to call the members.
Representative Chamberlain.
Good evening. Thank you guys for joining us, both here and on Zoom. I have a question for, I guess, all of you. I would like to, but I say more specifically for Mr. McBride. So I will ask you first, and then anyone else can feel free to pitch in. I would like to know how your guys' schools, and specifically your guidance counselors, involved your family in talking about your choices and what you might pursue following graduation, more specifically when it pertains to CTE. So I would like to know more about how your family either involved how your school either involved your family, or if you felt like they could have been involved more. If they hadn't, how do you think that would have changed your experience? You can just press down once, and once the green button is on, and then you don't need to hold it.
Okay.
Well, you're fine, Mr. McBride. Yeah, I think it's on now.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Well, my CTE counselor definitely involved my family, and she actually was the one that told me, like, yeah, I don't like looking at your GPA, looking at everything. She talked to my mother. She was like, I think like a trade might be what's best for him. They were definitely very involved when it came to, communicating with my family. I don't know.
Do you think if your high school, do you think it was beneficial for them to be in contact with your family regarding what you would do after graduation?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
Absolutely.
So to you, that is the right thing for them to do. Okay. Great. Does anyone else have an experience with? Great. I would love an answer. Thank you.
I think for me, and my history with my school and what I've experienced with my guidance counselors at my school, they usually always do call the parents and do like a check-in, and this is usually like beginning of the year, middle of the year, and before graduation, like giving their progress and involving the parents. And usually, like with parent collaboration, it's all depending on, I feel like it's all depending on the person. So, and like factors of the matter. So it's depending on income, what's the child's standing at school, like all the factors that go into it for them to form an actual plan, for them to see what they can possibly do. So it's about behavior, everything. So like from what I've seen at my school and like other schools in the area, they like all do that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Representative Dinkins?
Thank you all for your testimonies. My first question is for Ms. Cousins. I know you mentioned that mentorship was important in your journey, and I wondered whether some of those relationships were cultivated like within your school or externally, and if not within your school, like what schools can do to build those mentoring pathways for students.
Yeah, so most of those relationships were built like outside of school and like with like the organizations and internships that I was a part of. And I feel like what schools can do better is like with their resources and kind of like with the helping hand, because like it's all depending on where you go to find what you need to find, I feel like. because, you know, it's not going to come out of like thin air. Like you have to like actually go look for it. And being at a school like in Ward 7, there's like, it's gaps everywhere. So it's like, I can go here and get what I need from here, but I can go there and get what I need from there. So yeah, usually like what I needed, like mentorship, anything like that was cultivated outside of school. So yeah.
Thank you. And then my next question is for Mr. McBride. I also understand that you mentioned differences between like liking the idea of a career versus the reality of it. How can schools help students like understand the difference between the idea of a career versus like actually applying it?
I think they should put students in, you know, that person's shoes, like, you know, have them in the everyday life with that person and see if they really want to do it. Because I wanted to be an electrical engineer, and then my engineer teacher told me, like, yeah, you're going to have to learn a lot of computer schematics. And I'm like, I don't think I really want to sit in front of a computer all day, you know? So just you need to be prepared for whatever you're getting yourself into.
Thank you. And then my last question is open for anyone to answer, but from a perspective of a graduate, like looking back, what does being graduation ready look like?
What being graduation ready looks like is actually cultivating a plan, and that's like what you're going to do after graduation. Of course, gap year. Do you have a job lined up? Do you have college, trade, whatever? But also having the network available, so who you know you're going to talk to, who you know you're going to like stay in contact with, things like that, and then also like financial, like stability and financial knowledge. So what am I going to apply for? Is it going to be a personal loan? Do I have like something backup? Do I know a family member who I can, you know, get a loan from? Do I have a trust fund? All those things I feel like is a part of being graduation ready, and also like having the skill sets. So of course with like speaking, having specific like resume knowledge together, all those things, I feel like that's really important to being graduation ready.
Thank you. Representative Mozamdar.
Good evening, and thank you all so much for your testimony. My first question is to Ms. Bennings. If you could elaborate on what you view as like meaningful and structured community service, and like those sort of hours that connect to skill building, as you mentioned in your testimony.
Thank you. So I believe meaningful and structured community service is being able to do service in places that interest you. I believe doing service in different things, like maybe like working with homeless shelters, things like that are good for the community, but putting students in spaces that they might potentially want to be in gives them the service, but it also gives them the exposure and experience. That way students aren't like, oh, let me just go here and do this 3 hours just to get the service and check it off, but actually like, oh, I'm doing service and I'm learning about my possible future career or what I might truly be interested in.
Thank you. And so I guess on that, you think that like schools should be the ones like connecting students to potential service opportunities that like align with their interests and what they are actually interested in pursuing post-graduation, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And I believe the schools do a good job with that with the internship program, but just doing it as much as possible, even in the small spaces or timeframes, being community service, I believe that's most definitely important.
Wonderful, thank you. And my next question is to Mr. McBride. I guess first, if you could clarify, did you pick the electrical CTE course by yourself, or was that one of the ones that was like picked by your counselor earlier on in your high school career? Okay, and I guess on that, do you think if you were able to pick all of your courses from your freshman year, do you think you would have found your calling like earlier, or do you think it was more beneficial for you to like explore that wide array of courses before kind of settling on your chosen path?
No, I think that I would just jumped into something that I wasn't ready for if the decision was up to me, because I probably would have just stuck with engineering.
Wonderful, thank you. I yield back the rest of my time.
Thank you. Representative Best.
Thank you all for coming and speaking. I know I never would have even thought about doing this when I was your age. So my first question is, what was the biggest eye-opening moment once you left high school? And like, what was one of the things that we did well to prepare you? And then like, what was one thing that you really, really wish we would have done better? And I've kind of heard parts of it in some of your answers, but just wanted to know. This is open to anyone.
Panelists online, I see your hand.
Can you briefly restate the question? I believe I got it, but I just want to be clear.
Yep, I said, what was the biggest eye-opening moment once you left high school, and what was one thing that the schools did to prepare you well, and then what was one thing that you really wish that we would have done a little bit better?
I believe the biggest eye-opening moment when I left high school was that I could have chose my university differently based on financial options. I believe like choosing schools based on your tuition scholarships and DC Tag and DC Cap, it was like an equation. And if I knew how to do it better, I could have looked at a lot of different options. Despite being on a full ride, I could have done what made the most sense for me. Another eye-opening moment, I would say, being in my freshman year philosophy class and feeling like there was a lot of background knowledge that other students knew at different schools that I was just never taught in DCPS. And something that I wish the education system in DC did better, or I would say specifically with my school, was most definitely SAT prep. That gap between graduating and then actually being in college and certain things to be prepared for, I feel like that most definitely wasn't filled for me. Like it was, we didn't have all the resources. So specifically for me, that was having an SAT prep course like most students in college did in high school.
I agree with everything she said. We definitely want to be preparing students financially because it is expensive. The cost of living is very expensive to live out here. It's crazy. Financial literacy, yes, that needs to be a required class. You need to be financially literate by the time you graduate high school.
Thank you very much.
Representative Colson.
I'm not ready because Representative Best took my question, but you all spoke to that. I was really interested in how prepared you felt in terms of being in your classes, and I'm wondering if that proficiency level or preparation, did that cause you all to shift your majors or to pick your majors because you wanted, I'll be honest, anything involving math for me, I tried to stay away from when I went to school. And I'll also say that when I first went to school, my freshman year biology class, to the other student graduates' point, a lot of background knowledge I did not have. So can you all speak more to that? Go ahead.
I definitely can relate to that, especially like with physics, because I didn't take physics in high school. So jumping straight into physics and not even having like the slightest background knowledge of what I was getting into or anything like that was like, it was the most distraught thing ever, but I'm so glad I passed it on the first try, and now I'm actually researching quantum physics, because I fell in love with it, because I like got it on the like first try, which is crazy, but like, you know, not having that background knowledge set me back so bad. Like my like fall semester, it was really hard for me, like, you know, to dig myself out of that, especially with chemistry too. Yeah, like, so like not having those certain classes, like, cause we are provided SAT prep, we are provided certain preparatory classes in high school, but none of them really prepare you for actual college level, you know, academic, what is the word? Academic, what is it? The word for,
rigor?
No, when you're lesson planning, curriculum. Curriculum, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
We have a young lady online.
Okay,
Has her
go
hand
ahead.
raised.
Please.
I just wanted to quickly mention that my biggest plus from the previous question was the relationships I had with my teachers and the mentorship. That's what truly carried me and motivated me, even when I felt like I wasn't prepared academically. And I would say that preparation did have a big say in what I wanted to major in, which was psychology. But based on just how I am as a student regarding math and science, I kind of knew that anything that was related to that major wise, I would not be able to do, or I just already knew I probably wouldn't be able to handle in college. However, in college, like the other young lady said, I was able to just learn and kind of catch up and throw myself out there, and I actually ended up doing really well.
And one more question, yes or no. Were there factors aside from financial aid or the financial cost that persuaded you all to stay here in DC for school?
Fortunately, the time has run out.
That's all I needed. Thank you.
Representative Henderson.
Thank you all for your testimony. Ms. Bennings, I hear you on making sure that community service is meaningful and completely agree. I'm not sure from your testimony, if it is meaningful, would you advocate for keeping it at 100 hours rather than reducing? Ms. Bennings? All right, I'm going to lose all my time. I'll go ahead to Ms. Cousins. I'm struck by how important the out-of-school experiences that you had were for giving you direction. How did that relate to the preparation you were getting in your core courses?
I'm not sure what you mean by like relate, so.
Did you feel like your core academic courses were supporting your extracurricular interests?
I truly don't think so, because like, you know, as I mentioned, I'm from Ward 7, so where I come from, the lack of resources and what I was doing externally, which were in like Ward 5, Ward 6, and like Uptown DC, of course, it was totally different from what I was, you know, being, you know, served at like my actual school, you know. Mm-hmm. The lack of resources, the gap between what we learned where I'm at and what we learned somewhere else, like the workload difference in all of those things. So yeah, it didn't really like match up at all. So.
All right, thank you. And Mr. McBride, can you say, you're now doing an apprenticeship with the union. How did you get connected to that opportunity? Was that something that was presented to you through a high school connection, through a different connection?
Yeah, I was first exposed to it when a young man around my age came to speak to us, and he was in the union. He worked for Free State, an electrical contractor, and he kind of gave us a summary, like, you know, he had his own, well, I met him, and then another thing, it was a career fair where Free State was representing the union, and they actually came to the school, mm-hmm. and they were telling people about how to apply to the apprenticeship, how to, you know, the steps to take, and then I got an interview from the career fair with Free State, or the union, whatever you want to call it, mm-hmm. with Free State, and it wasn't like straight into the apprenticeship. She basically just interviewed me and like gave me a closer insight on how to get in, and yeah.
That's great, thank you.
Representative Thompson, just for the record, there are no members online. No, at all. They weren't there before the auto issues. They never came back from break.
All right, well, we're still here. So I'm so thrilled at this panel, and shout out to our staff for selecting great recent graduates. You all know we're working on the high school graduation requirements. Myself and Representative Henderson co-chair and our leading network. I will tell you, I know you said you were really nervous and you hope your testimony was helpful, but your testimony was very helpful. All of your testimonies have been very helpful. We are now currently wrestling with changes to community service. So the first testimony was spot on. I'm from Ward 7 also. We are from Ward 7. I went to high school in Ward 7. I didn't take physics either. Maybe I could have been, I don't know, a rocket scientist instead of a state board rep, but, you know, it is what it is. And it is amazing to hear you all's thoughts, because one of the things we're wrestling with is like, how do we make sure that not just kids like feel prepared or students feel prepared, but also that they land in the places they want to be. My mom, when she came out of Eastern, she actually went into an electrician's program, and then she went back, and she's now a teacher. She went to UDC, so she's a Firebird, and she was able to do both of those things in her life because Eastern really prepared her to do whatever she wanted to do. One of the things I didn't fully appreciate, and I want to say this to you on the record now, is we talk about trades like they are lesser than. My mom was like, getting into a union apprenticeship is one of the most competitive things you can do. Yeah. And so I just want to acknowledge that and give you your flowers, because you're like, oh, I'm nervous here, I'm not a good speaker. You did an excellent job. You did an excellent job. We understood exactly what you said. Clearly, the apprenticeship program understood exactly what you said. So give yourself some credit when you say you are not a good, you all are doing a wonderful job and are a wonderful representation. And so we'll be taking this back. I don't have a whole bunch of questions, because if I ask you questions, it's not going to be fair, because you only have 30 seconds to answer them. But I just wanted to go on the record and just say how impressed I am with you all as a panel, and ask if I can follow up with you all as we make our recommendations. So because in any conversation, I can think I hear what you said, and then I could say back to you, and you could say, no, that is not at all what I said. So we want to make sure we get it right. So if it's okay, I'll be following up with you to ask you some more like in-depth questions and to share with you what we're thinking as a board. But thank you so much for your testimony tonight.
Thank you.
Vice President Goulet.
I want to echo what Representative Thompson just said. Your testimony is very impressive and it's very helpful. So thank you all for coming in and making time to guide us as we look at the graduation requirements. This question's been asked, I think, a couple times, but I'm going to phrase it a little bit differently. I heard you talk about the need for financial literacy, and then, you know, chemistry, sciences, is things that maybe would be helpful. Was there anything you were required to take for graduation that you felt wasn't the best use of your time, and something else would have been a better use of that? And then, additionally, if there's any courses that you really think should be required of our students other than those that were mentioned already? And I'll just open it up to any of the three witnesses.
I just want to start off by saying I had to go to summer school because I failed PE. I don't agree with that at all, but yeah, financial literacy definitely should be a required course. I'm sorry, can you repeat your question again, the second one?
Just anything you felt was less useful, or anything else that you mentioned financial literacy should be required, anything. I think you mentioned PE should not. How did you fail PE?
I refused to wear the gym shorts. She made
Okay.
that a grade. It was absolutely great. I would not wear gym shorts. It was too cold.
Okay. Oh, that's fair. All right. We'll go to Ms. Cousins then. Anything that we should have or anything that we should subtract from graduation requirements?
I think the community service was a big thing. I think that's because of like, when you think of like area and where some students are located, I feel like it'd be harder for them to find like specific places for them to like go to for community service, not making it as an excuse because, you know, you have to do what you have to do to graduate. But like my school, it was only 75 hours to like required to graduate because I go to a charter school, but for DC public schools, it's like 100. Like, am I like?
So you support the testimony then of Ms. Bennings that perhaps reducing it or shifting it to other activities that are also valuable to the community, but not necessarily, you know, in the current system.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And then Ms. Bennings, anything else you want to add online to this before we wrap up? You may need to take yourself off mute, Ms. Bennings. We may have, I think my time has expired here at this point, so I just want to thank you all again. This has been so helpful for us as we look at the graduation requirements, and it was excellent testimony. So thank you all, and then we'll now move to public comment then. You may leave us for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Okay, so we'll now move to public comment. We here at the State Board hear testimony from public witnesses at every public meeting, and your comments become part of our official record. If you would like to speak at a future public meeting, please feel free to sign up on our website at sboe.dc.gov or contact our staff by email at sboe@dc.gov or by phone at, I'll say this slowly, 202-741-0888. And sign up closes 48 hours before the public meeting, so just be aware of that deadline. Tonight, we have 7 public witnesses who have signed up to share testimony with us this evening. As a reminder, all public witnesses must share a copy of your testimony with our staff at SBOE@dc.gov. So if you have not submitted that yet, please do so we can add that to the public record of today's meeting. We will hear from those in attendance in a panel format. Each witness, whether you're virtual or you're here in person, will have 3 minutes to provide comments. If you are in person with us, you can test your microphone out. You just got to make sure that the green light is on. And I'll call the panels at this time. Just a reminder that each panel, we will give board members 3 minutes to provide questions, and we will be able to get this in one panel because we have 7 witnesses. So I'll call the witnesses at this time. We start with Sally Swartz, and then Jeffrey Grant. We have Dana Winner, who's going to be virtual with us this evening. We have Stephanie Maltz, who's virtual. And correct me if I pronounce this name wrong, but Trinita Collins, or Trinita Collins? Trinita. Okay, great. And then we have, and Trinita, are you in person with us today? Okay, not here, okay. And then virtually we have Chloe Esselin, and then Ann David. So I'll go in order of the list here, and we'll start with Ms. Schwartz.
Excuse me. Good evening. I am Sally Schwartz, sorry. I'm representing Globalized DC, a
Could you
local
pull the microphone a little bit closer?
Okay. I'm Sally Schwartz, representing Globalized DC, a local nonprofit that works to increase access for DC public school students to global education and language learning. I'm here tonight to talk about the current revision of DC's high school graduation requirements. There is much to like in the current proposal from OSSI, in particular policies that support credit flexibility. Am I okay with the mic? I feel this.
Can we pause the timer for a second? Is there any way we can address the humming noise that? Try now, and then we'll restart the clock.
That's great. There's much to like in the current proposal from OSSI, in particular policies that support credit flexibility and increased access for students to career exposure and real-world experiences. To this end, we would like your support for the inclusion of 2 additional policies that we believe will fill gaps we see in the current OSSI proposal. First, please include a competency-based credit for world languages policy. I have testified on this topic many times, and the State Board has already approved this twice before. It would allow students to earn world language credit toward high school graduation for languages learned outside school based on an independent assessment. If we had such a policy in place, we would be able to open up opportunities for motivated students to study languages not available in their schools and earn credit, such as with Japanese, which we teach. The current OSSE proposal recommends a new state-level seal of biliteracy. We very much support that. The seal of biliteracy recognizes students who have achieved a high level of proficiency equivalent to 4 years of language study in 2 languages, English and 1 other. This is great, but it primarily benefits 2 groups of students: those who are English language learners who bring their heritage language with them, and those DC students with access to higher level world language courses in their schools. That leaves out a lot of DC students with an interest in languages. A broader competency-based credit policy using the same assessments would allow students with lower levels of language study to earn credit. Just 2 years are required for graduation, and it will open the door to creating new out-of-school 4-credit language options to augment in-school offerings, of particular benefit to students in schools with limited language. Second, please create a policy that will allow outside providers, such as after-school programs, museums, universities, to be approved for awarding elective credit in social studies or other subjects. Students across the city participate in a range of out-of-school activities. In the global...
Ms. Schwartz?
Oh, am I over?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll stop.
Mr. Grant.
Mr. Grant, you're up next.
Greetings, DC State Board of Education. I am Dr. Jeffrey Grant, CEO of Monument Academy Public Charter School, a residential public middle school serving grades 5 through 8 with the mission to empower students, particularly those who have experienced significant adversity, including involvement or risk of involvement in child welfare and other social service systems, with the academic, social, emotional, and life skills necessary for success in college, career, and community. For the past 10 years, the school has served students who are among the district's most vulnerable, including youth experiencing homelessness, foster care involvement, academic disruption, and trauma. The need for this work remains acute. Washington, D.C. continues to experience significant rates of youth homelessness, foster care involvement, and juvenile justice system contact, particularly among adolescents. These challenges often intensify during the high school years. When academic expectations increase and students who lack stable housing, consistent schooling, or adequate social emotional support are at a heightened risk of credit loss and dropping out. While Monument Academy serves as the only residential middle school in the district providing this level of wraparound support, there is a clear and persistent gap in comparable services at the high school level. From its inception, Monument was intentionally designed as the foundation of a broader continuum of care, with the long-term goal of expanding to a high school program. Each year, the school receives extensive applications for limited 7th and 8th grade seats, reflecting both strong demand for the model and the trust families and referring agencies place in the school's ability to serve students with complex needs. However, upon 8th grade completion, many students must transition to traditional high schools that are not equipped to sustain the intensive academic, social, emotional, and environmental supports that contributed to the middle school success. The proposed expansion to a grades 9 through 12 campus is a direct response to this gap. Monument Academy High School will enroll up to 120 students from across all 8 wards of the district, building on the network's existing reach and particularly serving students from wards 7 and 8 where need is greatest. The expansion will allow students to continue benefiting from a proven, trauma-informed, and residentially supported model during a critical developmental period when continuity, stability, and trusted relationships are essential to persistence through graduation. Monument Academy's model is grounded in research-based, data-driven academic and well-being strategies designed to address both unfinished learning and the impacts of trauma. Students entering our middle school level frequently have histories of high mobility, interrupted instruction, and academic performance significantly below grade level. Through small class sizes, specialized instruction in all core content areas, and robust academic interventions, the school has demonstrated consistent student growth year over year. These same principles, paired with a multi-tiered system of social, emotional, mental health supports, will anchor the high school program. ensuring
Doctor.
students are prepared not only to graduate, but to successfully transition to post-secondary opportunities. You
Thank
have
you.
the rest of my thing, so I'll pause there.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Grant. I appreciate that. And we'll move next to our virtual testimony with Dana Winter. Ms. Winter, I think you need to take yourself off mute, if you can.
I'm off mute.
Okay, there we go. We can hear you now. Just try to speak
Okay.
closely.
Okay, good evening. Thanks to the board for allowing me to provide testimony regarding the new high school graduation requirements and graduate profile, especially regarding digital literacy and digital citizenship, which is highlighted in the graduate profile. I'm a third-generation Washingtonian. My parents graduated from Eastern High School, and Dad graduated from Wilson Teachers College. In 1956, Dad was recruited into the nascent field of computer programming. Consequently, I grew up in information technology in the 50s and 60s and became an IT professional in 1972. I've been blessed to lead major systems implementations in US, UK, Europe, and the Middle East in domains that include corporate administration, government, national security, law enforcement, and healthcare. Now I'm transitioning to education. Based on my corporate training experience, secondary teaching experience, and current research in education, please allow me to suggest that digital literacy should be embedded in every aspect of the curriculum. In the 21st century, there is no domain that does not overlap with and intersect with digital literacy. I also suggest that digital literacy and digital citizenship instruction should begin at the earliest in high school. I agree with the superintendent who envisions it should begin in grade 9 with the career preparation course. I'm pleased to see that digital literacy and digital citizenship are highlighted as part of the new high school requirements and graduate profile. However, based on my experience of teaching these subjects to people, please allow me to suggest that combining digital literacy and digital citizenship with career planning in a one-semester half-credit course will not be sufficient to achieve the graduate profile aims and goals for digital literacy and digital citizenship. When we teach students to use IT tools of any kind, we must also teach and demonstrate cyberspace, civic virtue, ethics, cultural values, policy and law, as well as cyber hygiene skills. I could go on and on about this, but time is limited. Thank you again for this opportunity to testify. I welcome feedback from anyone on this topic and look forward to collaborating with you to make DC Public Schools an exemplar of digital
Ms.
literacy
Winter.
and digital citizenship.
Ms.
Thank
Winter.
you.
Thank you very much for your testimony, Ms. Winter. We'll go next to Stephanie Maltz. Stephanie's not here, and I believe Trinita is not arrived yet, so Trinita's not here. All right, we'll go next then to Chloe Esselin. Ms. Esselin, are you online? You may take yourself off mute and begin testimony.
Thank you. My name is Chloe Aslin, and I am a Ward 7 resident, a DCPS parent, and a teacher at Plummer Elementary School. And I'm here to testify about the lack of implementation of the teachers union contracts between the Washington Teachers Union and DCPS. The first major concern is behavior protocols. This is not only at Plummer Elementary School. I've heard from teachers at other schools as well that they lack behavior protocols in schools. We do not have a behavior committee at Plummer, and when we ask our administration about behavior protocols, the answer is that it's the job of the mental health team. The mental health team is a school psychologist, a social worker, and a restorative justice counselor who's treated more like a behavior tech. And when they're being called to support teachers with behaviors, they're unable to meet their caseloads of students who need them. While many of our students who struggle with behavior have had traumatic life experiences which need the support of the mental health team, these should not only be addressed during times of crisis. In addition, there are students with mental health needs who are not behavior concerns who do not get the support they need because the mental health team only has time for the behavior crises. And there's a lack of communication to parents and staff about what the expectations and consequences are for behavior in the school. If DCPS chooses to have behavior fall upon the mental health team, then they need to be investing way more money into having much larger mental health teams in schools. It cannot be up to 2 people and a behavior specialist for a school of over 200 students in an under-resourced community where there is trauma that needs to be supported. When teachers have a student in crisis and call for help, and the mental health team, which is small, cannot answer immediately as they are dealing with another crisis, the children in the classroom cannot learn until the student in crisis has their needs addressed. Not only does it make for an unsafe school environment, but it also decreases the amount of learning time that occurs during the day. DCPS needs much larger mental health teams in schools with higher needs, and they need to have a behavior protocol that must be implemented in every school. There should be clear guidelines for principals as to what behavior and behavior management looks like in a school, and parents, staff, and students should all know what these behavior expectations and consequences are. Another area in which there are discrepancies in how the contract is implemented is with the committees. The contract states that schools should have behavior committees, personnel committees, SCAC, which meets with principals once a month, morning meeting committees, and others, depending on elementary or high school. And often when these committees meet, if they meet, the principal always has the final say. And so in many schools, the committees don't actually get to serve a purpose because no matter what solutions might be shared with an administration during those meetings, they're often ignored and implemented however the administration wants. Then when issues arise at the school based on those decisions admin has made, admin often blames staff for implementation that did not work, so that staff has just been set up for failure. Or when committee suggestions are constantly ignored, staff and parents no longer want to participate. There needs to be a way for principals to lead schools, but also be facilitators of a larger school community who have to hear the voices of that school community, including staff, students, parents, and community partners, because often those voices are completely silenced, making it a toxic work environment for staff and an adequate learning environment for students and their families. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Estlin. I appreciate your testimony, and we'll head to our last public witness for the evening, which is going to be Ann David. Since it may be a while before we can get the virtual testimony back on, we're going to start with a round of questions to our witnesses here. And Executive Director Butler, do you want to start with the students here?
Start with the normal round of questions. Representative Dinkins.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So my question is for Ms. Schwartz. As someone who did earn the seal of biliteracy, but mainly through attending an early Spanish immersion school, I recognize the seal's value, but also its rarity. I wonder what steps you suggest that the district can take to ensure that students who didn't have access to immersion programs from a young age can still have equitable pathways to obtaining the seal. What should the district take to ensure that students who didn't have access to immersion programs from a young age still have access to pathways to earn the recognition?
I think that, again, I think it's really hard to go school by school.
Mm-hmm.
Just because there's so many schools and we have limited language resources, we would like immersion programs in a lot more schools. I'm a big believer in language hubs, that we have out-of-school programming, whether it's run by the state or by the district, or by outside entities, where students can get language access if they're interested kind of outside of school. And that's why we want a policy where students can actually earn credit for that.
So would that be like in the form of like partnerships with outside sources? Okay.
There are organizations whose mission it is to teach languages, particularly because there's so many careers that require languages.
So they actually have resources to reach students, but there's just a mismatch because you can't like go into schools and do that. So yes, I think a lot of partnerships, governmental partnerships, nonprofits, universities, there are a lot of people that are language educators and institutions that promote languages that would be, that I'm sure would be, that I know would be interested in this, if there was a way that it could be like real, where students could get credit.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
I would like to yield the rest of my time.
Representative Mozumdar.
May I ask, is this still for the in-person panelists only? Okay, cool. Oh, so can I ask questions or no?
Vice President said these questions are just for.
Well, is our virtual, are we back online for virtual?
Yes.
Okay, well, we weren't sure how quickly you get us back online, and since you have moved quickly to do that, let's hear testimony then from Ms. David. Can you hear us, Ms. David? We're going to restart you at 3 minutes and if you could start from the beginning of your testimony, because we lost sound here. So can you hear us and come off mute?
Yes,
I apologize
can. Can you hear
everybody.
me?
Yeah, and I apologize again for the technical difficulties on our side here. So
No
please begin your
worries.
testimony.
Okay. Well, thank you all again for having me here tonight. Like I said, my name is Ann David. I'm a school social worker at Plummer Elementary School, which is in Ward 7, and I'm a Ward 1 resident. I'm testifying tonight to bring awareness into the ways that DCPS is currently violating its contract between the WTU, both at our school and at many schools across the district. So like my coworker, Chloe Aslin said, Plummer Elementary currently does not have a student behavior management committee, which is required in our contract. So there is no clear, consistent behavior plan in place. Without that structure, mental health staff are regularly asked to decide consequences on the spot and to call families about suspensions. This work can be guided by established school-wide plans and led by administrations and should be. This is harmful because it creates inconsistency and confusion for students and families and increases the likelihood of unfair, overly punitive discipline and undermines the trusting relationships that we make sure to build with our students to help them learn and improve their behavior. So much of my job as a school social worker relies on building the trust of students and discussing their actions, whether they be positive or negative. And this can only be done if my role remains a mental health provider in the school community that I'm working in. Another issue including our building and plenty of other schools across the district, includes lack of planning time for teachers and staff. On paper, in many schools, it looks like everybody is getting their 225 minutes as required by the contract, but many of those minutes are taken by IEP meetings, MTSS meetings, data meetings called by school administrations the day of. All these are taken by those meetings and leave teachers with little to no time to thoughtfully plan lessons, prepare materials, and respond to student needs. As a result, staff are often forced to plan after hours or scramble day to day, making it harder to deliver the high quality instruction and supports that school principals and DCPS expects us and our schools and our students deserve to receive. Self-contained classrooms across DCPS are struggling with overcrowding and understaffing. Plummer is no exception. Our school is supposed to have 3 full-time communication education support classrooms. These classrooms service students with significant communication issues and who often, but not always, have primary classification of autism. Since the beginning of the 25-26 school year, Plummer has only had 2 of these classes open, as they are unable to find a class for another teacher. School administration has decided to split all 23 students into 2 classes, and so now we have 2 very full classes with a lot of students with a lot of need that are understaffed. Finally, I'll end to discuss retaliation tied to participation in WTU activity. This is one of the most serious and concerning violations. Teachers report a lot of concern of contract violations when they report them, and they fear consequences through impact, hostile work environment, or other heightened scrutiny. You all have my testimony, and I definitely would encourage you to read that. And if there are any questions, please let me know. Thank you so much.
Well, I want to thank all of our public witnesses for their comments tonight. We deeply appreciate it. We're going to move to a round of questions, and since Representative Dinkins left a minute of time left, we'll let her start with a virtual panel here, and then we'll move on to the next representative. So Representative Dinkins?
I only have one question, and it's for Ms. Winter. How can or should DCPS measure if a student is digitally literate?
Exactly. That's a great question. How we do it in industry is by authentic assessment. They should be able to show their ability, especially in terms of teaching others to do the same thing that they've been learning. Also, a learning portfolio can be very helpful, but I'm thoroughly in favor of authentic learning, authentic assessment.
Thank you. I would like to yield the rest of my time.
Representative Mozumdar.
Good evening, and thank you all so much for your testimony. I have one question for Ms. Winter. You mentioned how you believe that digital literacy should be embedded in every aspect of the curriculum, and I agree with that. I wanted to know if you had any examples or a vision of what that would look like, so integrating digital literacy into every aspect of the curriculum, like English or arts, for instance, and not just within the allotted digital literacy credit.
Yeah, I have done that myself on a State Department funded project in Kuwait, where I taught cyber skills, safe and secure online, together with English language skills and intercultural skills. I do believe that we must have that ninth grade career preparation, which has digital literacy and digital citizenship focus, but then do curriculum mapping across the whole curriculum where we track and teach how to apply those skills in every other subject.
Wonderful, thank you. I yield back the rest of my time.
Representative Chamberlain.
I have to say, I do not have questions for you all at this time. I feel like you've all been exceptionally clear about what you expect. But I would like to thank you all for joining us, especially people online who had to sit in silence for a while.
Thank you. Representative Colson.
Thank you, everyone, for your testimony. I want to say very quickly, Ms. Schultz, I agree with what you're saying. I say all the time that we want to make sure that our students are able to have career-sustaining opportunities here in DC, and so all of those things that you are proposing will definitely give them better opportunities. To Dr. Grant, thank you so much for the work that you're doing. In education, we often say that we out here in these streets saving children, but it's more of a vineyard, so thank you for the work that you're doing in the vineyard to help our students. I do have a question, though. So with the proposal, I know that the students are there with you all based on need, and I'm just wondering if any of your students actually are promoted out of the program because they no longer have that need. And then the second part is based on the testimony that we heard today. When we want our students to be prepared to move on after high school, there's so many opportunities that they've tapped into that are not just school-based. So my question is, if a student is with you all, what other opportunities external of Monument would you be considering to provide to make sure that they're well-rounded?
I'm trying to see if this, okay, I'm on. So first of all, I tell everyone the most important word in the name of who we are is Monument Academy Public Charter School. So again, we offer a robust curriculum grounded in a thematic planning approach. So the content, the core content area in the curriculum support their academic growth. We just are blessed to offer a program that allows us to support families with our wraparound services, inclusive of, I would say, social emotional support. We have a dynamic well-being department. Our residential component is not just for children who are homeless. See, our initial mission statement focused on children who are in or may be in the foster care system. I went back in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic. We identified that many of our students identified on the McKinney-Vento, but then also given an ACEs-based survey, we had children of underemployed parents, unemployed parents, undereducated, incarcerated, in kinship care. Actually, were a victim of abuse or saw abuse. So we give that healing aspect to it, and we educate them simultaneously. I am very proud to say that we provide other resources. We expose them to the content through education. Our 8th graders go to Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands. 7th graders go to New York, look at the play The Outsiders. They read novels, experiential education. So to get to the high school is a continuation of the robust curriculum that we have. Now, again, we have small schools, small class sizes. That's very important. But again, some of our 8th graders, when they leave, they've been accepted in the School Without Walls, Benjamin Banneker, McKinley Tech, Phelps, Columbia Heights. So again, we do know that there's still a need for kids who may need our additional supports or just like the program that we have. Because it's small school, small class sizes, you can get the supports that you just deserve and appreciate.
Thank you. Representative Henderson?
I think we may have lost our online participants again. Okay.
No, they're there. Do you have a question for an online person?
Well, I would, but.
Do you want to ask if one of them can take themselves
I'll
off?
ask an in-person. Ms. Schwartz, thank you for bringing this issue up again. I don't need convincing. My concern is what I'm not sure about is how is our role in pushing for those policies. So I see how they are integral to the changes to the graduation requirements, but I'm not sure if we can include those or insist on those as part of the graduation requirements changes themselves. So I'm interested in finding out more about how we might pair those things or push for them in parallel, even if they're not part of the, strictly speaking, part of the graduation requirements changes that we vote on.
If I might just respond a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, whatever guidance that you can provide to us, if we have to work directly with OSSI or bring other expertise to the table, we definitely want to push for these policies.
Yeah, thank you.
Representative Thompson.
Good evening, everyone. I don't have questions from the online witnesses. I do, of course, have Plummer. I went to Plummer. I spend a lot of time at Plummer. And I owe you all an email response because I saw you also emailed me with the same concerns. I am happy to follow up if there's like a group of teachers to meet with, because I know this has been an ongoing issue with the staff and the leadership, and want to give it the appropriate amount of time in the appropriate space to have some continuing conversations. So I'm going to respond back to you all's email now while I'm sitting in this meeting. And we can schedule a time to get on the same page, if that's okay. I'm also happy to reach out to the exec board of the teachers union if that's helpful as well. I don't know if the online witnesses can hear us, but if you don't hear me now, you will see my email. Dr. Grant, I know that we don't make the decision about school expansion, right? And I know you know that. What is your hope for us today as the board and waiting so patiently to come and testify before us, because I know you're a Ward 7 school?
Yes, it is extremely important that the school, that the city knows about the school in terms of our mission. Again, we address some issues that are pervasive within our nation's capital. Again, we support children who may be experiencing, I would say, homelessness, being in foster care. A lot of people don't know this, but I was the principal of Relisha Rudd when she was homeless. And I was the principal of Furby Hope. And I would pull up in the morning, and I would notice her family in the car. And I was thinking, wow, you get here before I do. And Shamika, the mom, came in and spoke to me. She said, Dr. Grant, can we use your bathroom and everything? I was like, sure. So I said, what's going on? You're in the car every day. She said, we're living out of the car. And a lot of people don't know this story, so you're some of the first to hear it. And she approached me and we talked. I said, I'm going to get you out of that car. And she came to me, she said, the boys are going to be okay. She had two sons, because they also went to the school. And she said, would you take Relisha home with you? And I was a single man at the time. And I said, I don't feel comfortable with that, but I'm going to get you out of this car. So I worked with Virginia Williams to get them into the shelter. And that's when you're thinking that someone's going to be, well, relatively safe. But as we learned, that was not the case. I was actually the principal of Blow Pierce at the time, and she was going to pain Relisha when she went missing. But again, when the school opened down the street, and Emily Bloomfield, who founded it, she went out. But again, a few years later, when it was in trouble, I was called to ask would I take over because of my success turning around schools. So I took it. I was National Head of Schools for Friendship. So I came in and took it, and I saw the need because if you look at the data, I don't know if you know, D.C. is number 2 in homelessness in the United States after Hawaii in terms of per capita. So knowing the data and knowing that we are modeled that can address that, I'm hoping that all of us as a team can identify the resources needed to support our families and our children and keep them safe, number one.
Well,
Thank you
Dr.
very much.
Grant, you're over time,
Thank
but
you.
we're happy to come visit if that's
Okay.
helpful, if that's a good starting place.
Please do.
Representative Best.
I don't have any questions. I don't know if you finished saying what you were going to say. If not, then.
I do believe that I finished.
Okay.
Again, accomplishing my goal is to put a spotlight on solutions. So again, if you have a school that has solutions, because oftentimes we have communities that are overlooked, and I'm hoping that it's not intentional, but too often they're overlooked. And if we can come up with solutions and best practices, I feel that they should be replicated and extended so that all children are safe in this city.
Thank you very much. I have no further questions.
Vice President Goulet.
Well, I want to thank all our witnesses again. Dr. Grant, thank you for coming in and testifying. Ms. Schwartz, I appreciated the opportunity to sit down and meet with you about this. I agree fully with you that we need to get the competency-based credits in. I would love to remove any barriers that are there right now to make this successful, you know, whether it be in school or out of school time, as you talked about. And I think it's something important to either address directly through the graduation requirements or kind of on a parallel track so we make sure it gets done simultaneously with it. So I look forward to working with you and then our committee chairs on this issue. I just apologize again to the witnesses online that I think we're having technical difficulties. Oh, they are? Oh, wonderful. Okay, great. Then my questions are for the representatives for the teachers union. And I'll just say that I appreciate your testimony today. I look forward working with you. We are looking at the issue of student safety and supports, which includes, you know, trying to look at issues of behavior in class and how to make sure all students can learn in a safe environment. So perhaps the best thing we could do is then follow up after this on that issue, and also on the issue of making sure that we have sufficient staffing for our students with disabilities. That's something that's really important to me. And if you could, I think probably the best way to do this is a follow-up call, because I'd like to hear specifically what the violations are of the contract. I think it's really important that when the city agrees to a contract that we meet our end of the obligations and that we're following through on what we say we're going to do, because then we can't expect others to do so if we're not abiding by the contract. And I did hear mention of retaliation. If there are examples of that, please share those with the board, and we'll be glad to elevate or raise those concerns. I had concerns about retaliations against parents last spring, and I take that very seriously if there's retaliation against people who are advocating for either their children or for children through their profession here, which would be the teachers. So if there's anything you'd like to add in 40 seconds, I apologize for taking the time. But I just look forward to a follow-up conversation, and thank you for coming in and speaking to us today.
It's at the bottom of my testimony. If you want to use that to reach out.
Yes. Yeah, wonderful.
Okay.
I will.
Okay.
I'll reach out to both of you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
This now concludes our public witnesses for this evening. Thank you all so much for your testimony. If you haven't already, please make sure that you email the State Board staff a copy of your official testimony so that it may be added to the public record. Thank you all so much.
Okay.
Looking forward to seeing all of you all come to 519th Street, Northeast.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much. We'll move to our last item of business, which is new business on the agenda. So I would just ask members if they have any new business items for the agenda or any announcements that they would like to make at this time. Just please take yourself off mute and go right ahead. We have Representative Thompson.
I only have an announcement. I would never add new business at this point. But my announcement is, as we are working our way through Black History Month, if you have Ward 7 students, meaning live in Ward 7 or attend school in Ward 7, that are doing great things, I do have a thing I do every year, lifting up good things our young people are doing, and you can nominate a student. So nominations are still open. I, of course, will post all the happy things because when, as Alex Haley said, you find the good, you praise it. We get a lot of, people who come to us and are like, this isn't working, that isn't working, and we need to know those things. And we need to know when great things are happening, like the recent grads we saw today. So my announcement is go to my social media. Please submit the Google form if you have young people who are doing good things in Ward 7, and I'm happy to lift those up as the Ward 7 representative. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you, Representative Thompson. Are there any further announcements from anyone? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move to our final item for the evening, which is adjournment. With no further business before the State Board, I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, I hear Representative Thompson with a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I heard everyone over there. I heard, I believe Representative Chamberlain first, but I think we also had Representative Henderson on that as well. So we'll move then for adjournment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it, and this public meeting of the District of Columbia State Board of Education is adjourned at, and do you have the time, Representative Butler? Or not Representative, Executive Director. This meeting is adjourned at 8:20 p.m.